to enable my screen share. No problem for that. Yeah, I think they have taken the screen share actually now. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining the session. Actually, these are a few demos that will be going on before the sessions are going to be started. Actually, so uh, and let me introduce myself before moving further. When we deal with actually, so my name is Shiva. So I have overall 8+ years of experience as I work as senior DevOps engineer in one of the company. Okay, so I hold multiple certifications actually. So AWS Developer Associate, Terraform Associate, and the Kubernetes Administrator certifications. Okay, so these are the certifications I hold, and this is a short introduction about myself. And I am your instructor uh, for this particular session and all the sessions of this course actually. And this course entirely deals with Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and AWS with projects involved and real-time scenarios involved. How our company uses these services from AWS, Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. I want to show you people and the topics we will be discussing as part of this course actually. Okay, this is the short introduction about myself and the introduction about the course. And we will be going through the course content today because before starting the course, you need to understand what are the different course content that you are going to have actually. Okay, so as part of this course subjects. Okay. And we are also going to have some webinars. Okay, I think we are planning webinars on each weekend or the alternative weekends. Every weekend. I mean, if you are interested, you can join. It's a online session only. Okay, you can join those webinars. Actually, yesterday also when webinar happened. Okay, that deals with using AWS Secrets Manager in order to store the in order to manage the centralized secrets actually of Kubernetes actually. So we have did that webinar yesterday, and last weekend Sunday we have made some monitoring Kubernetes cluster with Prometheus and Grafana. We have also did that actually. So okay, so like that we are going to have some what is that seminars or the webinars on weekends. On some of the weekends, you can attend those actually. Okay. So let me share my screen and explain you the course content, what we will be discussing on as part of this course. Actually, let me share. Okay, I hope my screen is visible, right? Can anyone confirm my screen is visible or anyone please? Yes, no. Oh, is my screen visible? Yes, thank you. Okay, so let me go to my course actually. So it should be somewhere here, AWS, Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes. Okay, it deals with very introduction topics actually. So these are the all the overall modules that I have put as part of the initial starting of the document. Okay, and we'll be having this. This is the AWS services that we are going to see actually. So. I Okay, we will be having we will be having our understanding from this particular concept actually. So you can understand this. You can understand this from where we are starting the course from. You can see that we are starting the course from very basic level. That is what is SDLC. We are starting the course at very basic level, that is what is SDLC, and we will be ending the course at very advanced level, at very advanced level by doing some by doing some projects, okay, real-time projects we are going to do actually, okay, by taking some applications and we are going to do all those stuff. Okay, you will be observing as part of this course content. You can see that as part of the syllabus, we will be seeing what is SDLC, what is DevOps position in SDLC, importance of DevOps in software release process. We will be seeing physical servers, what is physical server, what are the disadvantages that we have with the physical server, and what is virtualization, how the virtualization is being evolved because of the disadvantages that we have with the physical server, and what are virtual servers and what are virtual servers in the cloud, what are the advantages that you are going to get if you are going to use the virtual servers and the virtualization in order to deploy your applications and all these things, and what is Docker, we are going to see in that manner actually. Please do remember this course is entirely divided into three parts actually. One is, if you take any concept out of this course actually, that concept will be taught in a diagrammatic and the theoretical and the practical manner. Okay, every concept in this course will be taught in these three manners: diagrammatic, theoretical, and the practical manner. Okay, so that's what you need to understand. Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes position in SDLC, where that tools fit as part of the SDLC process, and the importance of Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes in IT industry. Nowadays, all the IT people, to automate their tasks, they are using Jenkins and they are deploying their applications using Docker and Kubernetes. It's very, very important tools in the industry in order to deploy, in order to containerize your application, all the things, and to use the Kubernetes as a orchestration technology actually. Please do remember, I might be speaking some technical words actually, that will be very clear as part of the syllabus, because when we are discussing about the topic, because it might be new to you people, and this is just a introduction actually, this is just a explanation of the syllabus. Please do remember, it will be very clear, it will be very clear actually as part of the course if you go on actually. Okay, so do not worry about that if you are not understanding any technical content what I'm speaking here, but yeah, I need to explain the concept what we are going to discuss actually. So that's how I follow. Okay, first you need to understand what you're going to learn as part of this course. Okay, that's the thing. As part of the Docker introduction, okay, we are going to see introduction to Docker and containers, and we are also going to see that Docker Compose. Docker Compose is a way with which we can automate the creation and deletion and the management of containers actually. Okay, if you want to write some Docker Compose file, you need to understand YAML syntax. YAML, okay, yet only programming language. This YAML is not a it's a programming, it's not a programming language, is a declarative script actually, with which you can with which you can create a Docker Compose files actually, with which you can automate and create Docker Compose files for multiple containers. Actually, you are going to write a YAML script. First, I am going to explain how to write a YAML files, and then you will be using that YAML files in order to deploy multiple containers and in order to manage multiple containers at one place actually. Okay, that's what the importance of Docker Compose in real time. Very, very important for the developers as well as the DevOps engineers for testing purposes and all actually. Okay, so that's the Docker Compose. Okay. Before starting any of the content in our syllabus, first you need to understand the technical words as part of that particular concept actually. Suppose if you take Docker, we need to first understand what is Docker, what is Docker host, what is Docker client, what is Docker daemon, what is Docker registry, and types of Docker registries, like that. Technical content, like what is meant by that, okay, how we use that, you need to understand those things. That is why I have put explanation of technical terms in case of Docker. What is Docker host? What is Docker client? What is Docker daemon? What is Docker images? And what is Docker registry? All these things that you are going to understand as part of this introduction. Once you get that basic concepts of Docker, we will be seeing the commands that you use in Docker and their explanation with their flag. For each and every flag that we are going to use, I'm going to explain as part of this course actually. Okay, working on Docker images, we'll be seeing. Sorry, we'll be working on the Docker images and practical examples of running applications and use cases, understanding three-tier architecture. What is a three-tier architecture? What is the use of this three-tier architecture, and what we are going to achieve by using this three-tier architecture? We are going to see as part of this. So you people might be already knowing about this, but yeah, it's my duty to explain one more time. So I will be explaining this, and how you can establish a communication between the containers using hyphen link flag and the Docker Compose. We are going to see this one actually. Everything which I have mentioned, it will be in a diagrammatic theory and the practical manner. Okay, whatever we are going to discuss, all these things will be in a three types: Okay, diagrammatic theory and the practical manner actually. Okay, custom Docker images. This is very important concept. Okay, creating custom Docker images. It's very important for your interviews and your day-to-day activities in your companies. Okay, that is how to create your own custom image. Suppose you have an application. Suppose you have developed an application. That application, developing an application, what it means actually, writing some code, programming language, some code in order to develop that application, right? So that application, that code which you have developed cannot be directly put on a servers. Okay, that application which you have developed cannot be directly put on a servers in order to serve the traffic actually. Okay, so that code need to be converted into a Docker image. Okay, see, it might be technical, but yeah, please do understand that code might be converted into a thing called Docker image. How to convert that application which you have developed to Docker image? So that's what this entire concept will be. How to convert? Okay, using two ways. One is Docker commit. You have some command called Docker commit command. You can use the Docker commit command and convert your Docker images. You convert your applications on to the Docker images. And the other way is using Docker files. Docker file is the most popular and the famous, or whatever the thing you call. Okay, it is a most popular way in order to convert your applications into Docker images. Okay, there are multiple keywords that you are going to get as part of this Docker file, explanation of various keywords used in Docker file and practical examples of Docker file. Everything which I mentioned again, everything will be in a practical manner. Okay, so all these things. Okay. Sorry. Docker volumes and Docker networking. As part of the Docker volumes, we are going to see two types of Docker volumes. Simple Docker volumes or Docker volume containers. There are two types of things: simple Docker volumes and Docker volume containers. You are going to understand what the difference between those. Okay, understanding Docker networking and types. Okay, there are multiple types in network types in Docker. Okay, bridge network, host network, null network, and overlay network. We are going to see that in a practical, and all the things actually we are going to see everything in a practical manner. Okay, okay, advanced concepts and projects. And this advanced concepts and projects, as part of this Docker, you are going to see multi-stage Docker builds actually. So we are going to have something called multi-stage Docker builds actually to reduce the size of the Docker image and to increase the security. Okay, so this multi-stage Docker builds will be helping you in that manner to reduce the size of the Docker image. Okay, the increasing the security actually. Okay, understanding layers for Docker image. What are layers? Okay, based on what that layers contain, all these things we are going to understand actually. Practical examples again, projects on Docker and Docker Compose. And if you take any concept, you need to understand how to debug that application. Okay, how to debug that particular concept. Okay, that's troubleshooting and debugging is very important. If you take Docker, if you take Kubernetes, if you take AWS, if you take Jenkins, whatever the tool you take in the DevOps field, the troubleshooting and the debugging will play a major role in our day-to-day activities actually. Okay, so that is why I put this point. Actually, we are going to troubleshoot actually various problems. Okay, what are the problems that may occur in Docker, and how to solve those problems? We are going to see in that manner. Okay, so we are going to create some problems and solve those problems. If any problems occur without V creation, that also we are going to solve those problems actually. So that's how we deal with our course actually. Okay, the next part. This is how the Docker goes on. This will be the part of Docker. All these things which are explained until here actually. Okay, any questions related to this Docker? Any questions, anyone, please? All good? Can you people put something in chat so that I can understand? No doubts. Thank you. Anyone?
Any practical projects you'll be
Yes.
showing on
Yes,
something
yes.
or something?
Yes. I have separate presentation for the projects. What are the projects that we are going to do? I'm going to soon show you after this explanation of all these concepts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was working already. So can
Mhm.
I show any of my project, and can you help on understanding that one also?
You cannot show in the class, but we can connect
Hmm.
separately, and we can deal with that actually, because the
Okay.
class is only meant for, they will give only permissions to me, not all the people to share the screen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's a Docker concept that we have, uh that we have actually. Okay, so now it's it's part. It's now the next part is going to be Kubernetes. Okay, you see that here. Introduction to container orchestration and advantages. See, what are the we will be using all the Docker things here, right? We'll be understanding the Docker concepts, and we will be understanding what are the disadvantages that we have with the Docker. Okay, what are the disadvantages that we have with the Docker? What is the need to go towards the orchestration types of technologies like Kubernetes? Okay, so or the Docker Swarm. What is the need to go there? Okay, that's what will be there actually as before this, and what is the need to come to the orchestration technologies like Kubernetes. Okay, so we'll be seeing some introduction to Docker Swarm, and why Docker Swarm is that not much popular in the market, why Kubernetes is much popular in the market. Okay, why the people uses mostly the Kubernetes but not the Docker Swarm. Okay, so that's also we are going to see as part of this next part. Okay, various orchestration technologies available in the market, actually, so introduction to Kubernetes, why we are going to use Kubernetes, but not the Docker Swarm, why it is popular. Okay, Kubernetes is popular, but not the Docker Swarm is popular. Okay, that's what we are going to see. Next part is going to be Kubernetes. See, please do remember we are going to use lots and lots of tools as part of this course. Okay, we are going to use KNS, we are going to use Kubernetes dashboard, we are going to use what is that? What is that? Hibana, we are going to use different tools. We are going to use Postman. We are going to use Docker Compose. Okay, different tools we are going to use in order to achieve all the course content, in order to complete all the course content. Actually, please do remember that. Okay, as part of this Kubernetes installation and tools, we will be seeing what is K8s. What is why we call Kubernetes as K8s? Because between in the Kubernetes word between K and S, there are 8 characters, so that we call the Kubernetes as K8s, and the installation of tools that we are going to say as part of this. Okay, why K8s? What is K8s? Installation of K8s client kubectl, because kubectl that you need to install as a tool in order to work with Kubernetes clusters, creating Kubernetes cluster with AWS EKS. With YAML, we are going to use EKS tool there in order to create a EKS cluster and manage the EKS cluster, and EKS cluster architecture and its components. Okay, what are the different components that are there as part of the cluster? API server, controller manager, scheduler, etcd, kubelet, kubeproxy, and container runtime engine. All these things that we are going to see as part of Kubernetes architecture. So you need to understand again the technical terms here. So that's why I have put this point, explanation of technical terms in Kubernetes. You need to understand what is pod, what will be there inside the pod, and what will be how the pod will be running, and what are the problems that may occur to the pod, and how to solve those problems, and all in such manner we are going to learn actually all those things actually. Okay, Kubernetes workloads and resources, we are going to see the what is init containers, what are pods, what are replica sets, what is deployments, what is daemon set, what are jobs, what is non-jobs, and stateful sets, what are all these things, and when to use see, I'm going to give the requirement. Suppose this is my requirement, and you people have to tell me. I'm going to first explain uh, what is this, what is this, what is this, why we use this, and what is this. Actually, I'm going to post sometimes in our group. We are going to have a group actually. So in the Telegram group or the Slack channel, I'm going to post some of the questions for you people, so that you can answer them in a right manner. Okay, why this is my scenario, and what is a Kubernetes object that you use for this particular scenario. Just you need to answer there, answer the questions there. Actually, just click choose a correct answers kind of thing. Okay, so that you will be in line with the class. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, when do you suppose I have some requirement, and I have some requirement. I'm going to post that requirement, and what is the Kubernetes object that you are going to use for that requirement? Okay, so that's what that's how we deal with actually explanation of multi-container pods and imperative and declarative commands for Kubernetes. Okay, what is the imperative and what is the declarative commands for Kubernetes? Practical examples and use cases for above workloads. On all these things will be in a practical. I've already told you everything will be discussed in the 3 ways. Okay, theoretical, practical, as well as diagrammatic manner. Okay, and the next part is going to be the Kubernetes services and the load balancing. Okay, what are Kubernetes services, types of Kubernetes services, why we use services? Okay, so which type, when to use, when to use cluster type of service, when to use node port type of service, when to use load balancer type of service, when to use external name type of service, when to use headless service, or we will be seeing all these things, when to use what. Okay, so we are going to see understanding multi-port services. We are going to see multi-port, what is multi-port services, and why we need to use that multi-port services. We are going to see that everything in a practical, again, practical examples, and understanding the DNS of the service and pods. Actually, what is DNS of the service and pods? Uh, yeah, ingress is going to come as part of the networking. Do not worry about that. We are going to see. Okay, it's just service and load balancing. Okay, ingress will be there as part of the networking, as part of this particular place. Okay, do not worry about that. Okay, so the next part is going to be the Kubernetes storage. Okay, as part of the Kubernetes storage, understanding volumes in Kubernetes, persistent volumes and persistent volume claims. Okay, empty director, empty dir. Okay, what is this and what is this? Host path, static volume provisioning, and dynamic volume provisioning, and storage classes we are going to say as part of this. Actually, dynamic volume provisioning is very important in your case. Actually, okay, practical examples and use cases of storage. Okay, and the configuring and the next part is going to be configuring Kubernetes workloads. Okay, we use config map, secrets, sealed secrets, and we are going to use. I'm not put here, but yeah, you are going to have secret store, CSI driver. We are going to see that actually resource requests and limits, resource quota, limit ranges, quality of service classes, understanding different types of deployments and significance, horizontal pod autoscaler. Suppose what is this? It's very interesting actually. What is this horizontal pod autoscaler? Is something like if the traffic increases to your pods, okay, if the traffic increases to your pods, traffic means incoming requests are increasing to your pods, automatically your pods has to be scaled. Actually, suppose there is a sale, okay, in the Amazon, suppose let's think there is a sale tomorrow, many people will be requesting going to the Amazon.in website and searching for their products, right? So based on the incoming traffic, based on the load on the website, automatically the application should scale itself. Okay, so how to do that horizontal pod autoscaler we are going to see. Configuring with pods with policies, image pull policy, something like that. Okay, so and the commands and arguments and disadvantages, explanation of namespaces, liveness probe, readiness probe, and startup probe, all these things, and practical examples and use cases that we are going to see as part of all the things will be practical. Okay, so that's right. The next thing is scheduling. We are going to do the project before scheduling. We are going to deploy some application and do the project before scheduling. After the project is completed, before doing the project, actually, I'm going to list what are the tasks that we need to perform. Okay, this is a task, this is a task, this is a task, all these tasks. I will be listing all the tasks together that we need to perform, and uh, we'll be doing that, and we'll be doing the project. And next part, we are going towards the scheduling. Okay, I might be going very fast because this is just an explanation of the syllabus. Okay, it will be not like this when we deal with the course. Okay, so manual scheduling and the workloads or pods with node name, manual scheduling. Okay, scheduling the application with labels and selectors, scheduling pods with taints and tolerations, scheduling pod with node affinity, understanding the difference between taints and tolerations and node affinity, understanding pod affinity and pod anti-affinity and the difference. Okay, everything in a practical manner as part of the scheduling. You can see that here, right? So again, I'm saying everything which we are seeing here will be practical theory, and practical and trichromatic. Please do remember that. Okay, so okay, the next part is going to be security. Okay, as part of the security, we are going to understand the service account, using the service account with Kubernetes dashboard application. And also, we are going to understand how our Kubernetes pods can communicate with the other services in AWS. Suppose my Kubernetes pod, there is an application running in my Kubernetes pod. Okay, my Kubernetes pod has to communicate with the database so that my application inside the Kubernetes pod should be able to communicate with the database in order to store the data, right? How my pod will be able to communicate with the AWS using this security concepts we are going to see. Actually, how you can give the pod permissions to communicate with the AWS RDS database in order to store the data, right? So you will be seeing all these things as part of security. We are going to see roles, role binding, cluster role binding. Back is very important when you see actually. So R back is role based access control that we call it as. And what is the use of this is, suppose you are a developer, you are a tester, you are admin. So there will be multiple roles in your organizations, right? So based on the role, suppose you will be a developer should be only able to view the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, the tester should be only able to test the Kubernetes cluster based on the role that you have. You should have necessary permissions within the Kubernetes cluster. Admin should have all the permissions. You should be able to view, you should be able to delete, you should be able to change. Okay, all these things based on his role, he should be able to do everything he wants. Okay, so how to achieve that kind of scenarios? Using role based access control. Okay, that R back we are going to see that. Okay, so explanation of static pods. What are static pods and their explanation? So everything will be in a practical manner. Okay, the next thing is going to be networking. Introduction to networking in Kubernetes. What is ingress? Why? What is the significance of ingress? Practical examples of ingress, Nginx ingress controller and the Kong ingress controllers we are going to see. We are going to see as part of this Nginx and the Kong ingress controller, we are going to see path-based routing and host-based routing. We are going to take two different applications. Okay, how we can perform the path-based routing and the host-based routing. We are going to see understanding network policies. And we are going to understand what are network policies and their use cases, when to use them, and everything in a practical manner. And we are going to use the ACM certificates, AWS ACM certificate, in order to make the traffic HTTPS. So in a real time manner actually. So everything will be shown as a real time manner. Okay, as part of everything actually. So next one, monitoring and troubleshooting of your Kubernetes cluster. Introduction to logging and monitoring. Logging and monitoring is very, very important when you deal with the Kubernetes problems, application problems, and the cluster problems. Actually, you need to have proper monitoring setup and the logging setup for your Kubernetes cluster. Actually, what are the different issues that may occur in Kubernetes cluster and how to solve those issues? Visiting logs and describing atomic applications, understanding the problems and their significance, and monitoring cluster with Kubernetes dashboard and the KNS dashboard. KNS and the Kubernetes dashboard are different tools actually. The KNS, what's the difference between KNS and the Kubernetes dashboard? KNS is something called client side tool, and Kubernetes dashboard is something called server side tool. What is client side tool? What is server side tool? We are going to understand. Do not worry about that. The just a syllabus explanation I'm giving. Do not worry about that. Okay. Other useful scenarios. Okay. Integrating EKS cluster with AWS Secrets Manager. How EKS cluster can take the secrets from AWS Secrets Manager and pass those secrets as part of the configuration of the pod. Suppose my SQL password is there. I want to pass the MySQL password to one of the application, but I don't want to store the MySQL password in the Kubernetes cluster. I want to store the MySQL password as part of the AWS Secret Manager. When I store the AWS MySQL password in AWS Secret Manager, how the password can be fetched out and how the password can be passed to my application without storing the password as part of the Kubernetes cluster. Because if you store the password as part of the Kubernetes cluster, there is some security breaches that are going to be happening. What I'll say, security breaches that will be there, and all those things we are going to see actually. Do not worry about that. Okay, yes, Prometheus and Grafana is also going to be there as part of the monitoring. We have the we have the project presentation. Please do, we will be going through that soon. Okay, today itself. Okay, so that's all the useful scenarios we are going to see. And I'm also planning something called integrating EKS pods with EFS volumes. Okay, this is also very important actually. Those are the real-time scenarios that we are going to discuss. Okay, many real-time scenarios. Okay, and also planning upgradation. EKS, I have also put this point, EKS upgradation, cluster upgradation process. We are going to take an EKS cluster. EKS is the Elastic Kubernetes Service. It's a service provided by the AWS. How we can upgrade the cluster, okay, as part of this actually. Making cluster high availability using cluster autoscaler. We are going to use the tools called cluster autoscaler in order to scale the nodes in the cluster automatically. Okay, so now managing DNS. Okay, I put 2 points on same point, duplicate. That's fine. Managing the DNS of Kubernetes services with external DNS. How we use this external DNS and what is the use of using external DNS and all we are going to see actually. It's very, very important. Okay, so that's the thing we are going to see actually. Okay. And we are also going to see again. I'm saying will be. I'm planning to include this also. I'm going to include planning to include how to use EFS volumes for multiple pods actually. Okay, EFS CSI driver is going to be there, and what are the architecture of that, and how to make that possible. Same pods you should use same. Different pods should use same EFS volume. How to deal with that we are going to see actually. Okay, now these are the other useful scenarios that we are going to have. And other as part of the other tools, we are going to see the Helm. Helm is as a package manager for Kubernetes. Okay, installing Helm. There are two types of Helm versions, Helm 2 and Helm 3. And what is the difference between Helm 2 and Helm 3? Helm 2 has separate component called Tiller, but Helm 3 does not have that. Okay, so we are going to see what's the difference and why we need to use Helm 3 but not Helm 2. Okay, so as part of this Helm charts, installing Helm and working with it and commands that we can use as part of the Helm and how we can create a Helm chart from scratch. And we are going to see the functions, conditions, loops as part of the Helm. Okay, and explanation of Helm folder structure. Okay, Helm templatizing and named templates, projects on Helm. We are going to see all these things. Okay, yeah, interview assistants will be there. How not only for these tools, please do remember that whatever we are discussing, like Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and AWS, for these tools, how the questions will be there as part of your interviews and how to answer those. We are going to see actually. Okay, that's the thing. Only as part of these tools. Okay. Now, the next part is projects. Okay, I have projects separate presentation is going to be there for your projects actually, for the project that we are going to do, and projects on combination of Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, and Argo City, all these things we are going to see actually. Okay, that's the thing. That's all the entire Kubernetes concepts is. Okay, so that's a Kubernetes. Any questions regarding this Kubernetes? Please do remember it might be a technical, but it will be clear for you as part of your course. Okay, that's a thing.
So about these tools, are
Mhm.
we going to install in our system or how it is, or we will be using AWS?
Yes, a few tools we are going to install in our system. Okay, the tools which deals with the UI. Okay, so like KNS. Okay, that deals with the UI. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right. So those tools we are going to install on your system. You can connect you can connect to your Kubernetes cluster two ways from the AWS servers or from your local machine. If you want to connect to your Kubernetes cluster from your local machine, all the tools need to be installed on your local machine. Okay, if you want to connect to your Kubernetes cluster from the AWS servers, all the tools you need to be installing on the AWS servers. But please do remember, if you install all the tools on the AWS servers, right? So the server which you are running, it will be little bit AWS will be costing you regarding that. That is why I suggest to install all the tools in your local machine actually. So
So
that's the thing.
Windows is fine, right? Because we are
Yeah,
using.
Windows is fine. In that Windows, first install, there is something called WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. That will be there. Just first install that, and on top of that, you can use all the tools which we are using it here.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing. Any questions regarding any other questions that you have with the Kubernetes? Okay. We will be starting with Docker because you need to first understand Docker and then only Kubernetes and then only what are the manual steps we are doing in Docker and Kubernetes. We can automate them in Jenkins actually. Jenkins is the automation tool, right? So first you need to understand how to do the manual process. Okay, how to do manual process. Then only you can understand how to do automation. That is why I put the Jenkins at last after discussing Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, that's the thing. Yeah, see, notes, if you want to make the notes while running the class, you can make it, no problem with that. But I suggest I'm going to share some documents for the Docker, some text documents for the Docker. And for the Kubernetes, I am going to share the YAML files as a notes. okay, YAML files which we use in our classes. I'm going to share those. And for the Jenkins, I'm going to share some text files as a notes. And for the AWS, we are going to share the text files as a notes. This is how we deal with in our classes actually. Okay. You are going to get the drive access. Okay, once you have enrolled for the course, you are going to get the drive access. All the documents will be uploaded there on the day itself. Then you can you can use that drive, and you can download the document. You can use that documents in your practice after the session actually. Okay, KNS is a tool with which you can monitor your Kubernetes cluster. It's a monitoring tool. What I can say, you can basic monitoring can be done with KNS. KNS is a modern tool which is coming to the market. Yeah, it's interesting. You can see actually it's a client side tool that need to be installed on your local machine. It is very good actually. KNS is a tool with for it's mainly for monitoring. Okay, that's a KNS. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's the thing. That's a Kubernetes concept. And next we are going towards the Jenkins. As for the Jenkins, first, before understanding Jenkins, what's the need of Jenkins that you need to understand? Okay, so what's the need? Why we have to come to Jenkins without what is the need to come to this actually? Okay, the next part is going to be introduction to continuous integration and continuous deployment, introduction to Jenkins installation, creating an application, creating an expansion of master slave architecture. The master slave, why to create the master slave architecture first? Okay, so see, master slave architecture can be created in two ways. One is using SSH, and other one is going to be using some commands. Okay, we are going to see two ways. Okay, how to create a master slave architecture using SSH, and how to create a master slave architecture using some commands. So we are going to see two ways actually. And we will be seeing technical terms as part of Jenkins, like what is executors in Jenkins. Okay, what is the build cache? Okay, why we use them? Okay, what is Jenkins controller? What is Jenkins slave? Okay, such kind of technical terms we will be first understanding before going to Jenkins actually. Okay, the next part is going to be Jenkins deep dive, creating a freestyle project with pipeline syntax. Okay, creating a working with pipeline projects, creating and working with multi-branch pipeline project, exploring various options that we have as part of the creating pipelines, post build actions of Jenkins pipelines actually. Okay, what are post build actions? There are always success, failure, aborted. Okay, there are some post build actions, how to deal with that, when to use what, and all these things we are going to see actually. Jenkins integrations. As part of the Jenkins integrations, we are going to integrate Jenkins with GitHub. Okay, we are going to integrate Jenkins with SonarQube. We are going to integrate Jenkins with Docker Hub. We are going to integrate Jenkins with Trevi. We are going to integrate Jenkins with Kubernetes to deploy the applications. And we are going to integrate Jenkins with Slack. Slack is a tool which we can communicate with our teams actually. So we are going to integrate Jenkins with Slack. Whenever a Jenkins project is built, like whenever a pipeline is built, you are going to get a notification to Slack that this pipeline is built, and with this is success code of this pipeline. Whether it's success or the failure, you are going to get this notification to your Jenkins to your Slack channel from your Jenkins actually. So how to integrate those? So we are going to do all these integrations as part of this integrations place actually. And also we are going to integrate Jenkins with S3 to store your artifacts. Okay, I have not put that point here, but yeah, we are going to integrate Jenkins with S3. Okay, that's the thing. And as part of the Jenkins configuration, configuring credentials in Jenkins to use them in the pipeline, configuring credentials with configuring custom environment variables in Jenkins pipeline, configuring Jenkins pipeline with parameters. Someone put something in chat. We are in AWS. Can we use ECR to integrate? Yeah. You can use ECR. Yes, we can also use ECR. No problem with that. Okay, no problem. I can use ECR. Okay, it's same process. Okay, no problem with that. Okay, so configuring custom environment variables in Jenkins pipeline, configuring Jenkins pipeline with parameters. There are different types of parameters: string param, boolean param, choice param, okay, file param, or whatever. How to configure that. Okay, all these things we are going to see. Configuring upstream and downstream projects. Okay, configuring predefined environment variables with Jenkins pipeline, user and role management in Jenkins. Okay, in this also, in like how we have user management in Kubernetes, RBAC, in the same way, Jenkins also has user and role management. So here also we have RBAC actually. So we are going to deal with that RBAC. Okay, using plugins in Jenkins, exploring Jenkins stash and working with it. Okay, all these things. See everything in a practical manner. Please do remember that everything will be in a practical manner. Okay, first I'm going to explain theory, why we need to use that, what is the advantages of using that, why, and the diagrammatic and the practical manner. Okay, Jenkins administration and the troubleshooting as part of this one. Configuring Slack notifications with Jenkins pipeline. I've already put this one here, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, monitoring Jenkins setup with Prometheus and Grafana. How to monitor, how to integrate your Jenkins machines with Prometheus and Grafana, so that you can monitor that as part of your Grafana dashboard. How many pipelines are being built, how many executors are free, how many executors are busy, and how much cache, how much memory is being used by our Jenkins. Okay, machines, actually something like that. Okay, you can integrate such using this Prometheus and Grafana. User and role management in Jenkins that we have seen actually, but yeah, backup and restore, required things from the Jenkins machine. Backup and restore is very important in real time. Okay, Jenkins backup and restore is very important, because if the Jenkins machine crashes, you should have the backup to restore to the new Jenkins machine actually. So how to do that? We are as part of this backup process, we are going to use something called cron jobs as part of your Jenkins machine. So that cron job is going to take the backup and push that backup to the S3 buckets. And whenever you want to restore, you can take that backup from the S3 bucket and restore into the new Jenkins machine. So that's what we are going to do actually. So we are going to see that. Okay. Yeah, we are going to, as for storing the artifacts, we are not going to use an Nexus, because we are going to use the S3 buckets. Okay, how to use the S3 buckets actually. We are going to AWS S3 only. Okay, that's the thing. Troubleshooting issues faced and possible problems in Jenkins. How to troubleshoot the issues that may occur in Jenkins, and how to solve those problems in Jenkins actually. So that's a point in this one here. Okay, and different problems that we are going to create and we are going to solve, and how to establish how to solve those problems also we are going to see. The projects. As for the projects are combination of Jenkins, Java, Maven, SonarQube, Docker, Trivi, and Slack, and Kubernetes. So all these things we are going to integrate together, and we are going to create a big pipeline with automatic deployment. Once you did this project of Jenkins, you know how the output will be. The output is developer just pushes his code to the GitHub repository. That's it. Once the developer pushes his code to the GitHub repository, automatically that code will be deployed to the Kubernetes cluster. That's how we will be automating. Our pipeline will be, that's how interesting actually. So we are going to see that, no problem with that, but that's very interesting project we are going to see actually. Okay, now in the as part of the AWS, okay, introduction to AWS cloud computing at AWS. Okay, understanding AWS regions and available resource. Okay, some of the basic concepts of AWS, like edge locations and AWS regions, availability zones. Okay, the overview of AWS actually, that's the thing actually. AWS services, when we talk about the AWS services, we are going to see the VPC, virtual private cloud, CIDR ranges, how to create a CIDR, okay, classless inter-domain routing, CIDR, okay, so subnet mask, etc. All these things, how to create that, okay, how to deal with the IP addresses, okay, how many number of IP addresses if will come if you take subnet mask of 24/24. Let's see, there are some mathematical concepts that we need to understand. So we are going to see all those things in a very clear manner. Do not worry, it is very easy. You can easily manage that. Okay, so that's the thing. VPC subnets. As per the subnet, there are two types of subnets: public and private and route tables we are going to see, internet gateway, NAT gateway, transit gateway, NACL and security groups, VPC endpoints and VPC configuring VPC flow logs for your VPC. What is VPC? We are going to first discuss that. Elastic IPs. Okay, what is the use of this elastic IPs? Why we need to use this elastic IPs? All these things we are going to say as part of this VPC. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, so and Route 53 in the next service we are going to see is Route 53 posted zones, public posted zones and the private posted zones, health checks in Route 53, record types, routing policies. Yeah, sorry, yeah, put again health check. That's the thing. Okay, different concepts that we are going to see as part of the Route 53. We are going to purchase a domain as part of the GoDaddy, which is a domain provider. You are going to purchase a domain. Okay, I'm going to purchase a domain. If you want, you can purchase, no problem with that. And we are going to integrate that domain to our Route 53 service, and we are going to use that domain actually. How to do that? Okay, what is a domain first? We are going to understand basic concepts first. Okay, actually, that's the thing. Okay, now that's a Route 53. And as part of the EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon Images, AMIs, Amazon Machine Images, we call it as AMIs, public and private and own images. We are going to see how to create that and how to make that public and private, all those things. Actually, working with Linux and Windows virtual machines, how to deal with Linux and Windows virtual machines. EC2 user data. Okay, moving instances types. Okay, suppose today you are going to use some type of T3.micro, but tomorrow the incoming traffic is more. You want to have high capacity machines, or you want to have different machines which has 4 GB RAM and 4 GB memory, 4 CPUs. So how to move the instance type from one type to another type. Okay, so we are going to see such kind of real-time scenarios we are going to see as part of the course actually. Okay, please do remember that. Okay, so we are going to see types of instances and accessing EC2 machines. If we lose the key pairs, what happens? Suppose if we lose the key pair actually, so how to access the EC2 machines that we are going to see actually. This is a very important interview question. What happens, like how you can access the EC2 machines if you use the key pair actually. So that's very important interview question. Most of the people you might have experienced this question actually. Okay, so types of instances and the EBS volumes and the types. Okay, there are GP2, GP3, SC1, SG1, or the types are there. What's the difference between those? When to use those? Actually, we are going to see that. EBS snapshots and moving EBS volumes across AZs, how to move EBS volumes. So this is also very important. See all this. See, when we discuss all this topics, right, you will be experiencing many interviews questions out of these topics actually. Suppose I have EBS volume in one AZ. Okay, I need to move this EBS volume to another AZ availability zone. How you can move that? This is also one of the interview question. How you can move that actually? So you will be getting all these things here as part of this actually. A target group, load balancer and its types actually. We have multiple types of load balancer, right? So we are going to see that. Okay, configuring load balancer and to send the logs to S3 actually. So we can integrate the load balancer with S3 in order to send the access logs to the particular S3 for our debugging purposes actually. Okay, so that's what we are going to see. Launch templates and auto scaling groups. Okay, network interfaces and key pairs actually. All these things we are going to see as part of this EC2 compute cloud. And there are many projects that are going to come as part of these topics. Okay, so that's the thing. And the next part is going to be S3. S3, working with S3 buckets, bucket versioning and encryption. Okay, so okay, bucket versioning and encryption. Okay, and server access logs and event notifications, how to do that, and object log and static website hosting and bucket policies, configuring bucket lifecycle rules, configuring bucket replication rules. All these things we are going to see. Okay, so that's the as per the S3. Okay, now the next part is going to AWS Lambda. Okay, so it's a serverless service. Okay, you cannot manage, you will not be managing servers, you will be managing only functions. Okay, working with Lambda functions, layers in Lambda function. Okay, configuring Lambda functions like timeout or the time duration for which Lambda function can run. Okay, so all these things actually. So how to deal with that? Configuring Lambda role and resource based policy statements. We are going to deal with that. Configuring triggers and destinations for Lambda. configuring function URL, configuring environment variables for your Lambda, Lambda function aliases and the versions, introduction to handler, and configuring handler in Lambda. What is handler? What is the use of handler? What happens if someone triggers the Lambda function? Who is the first candidate to execute that one? The Lambda function is the handler. All these things we are going to see as part of this Lambda actually. So the projects are also will be there. Do not worry, the projects will be there. We have separate presentation, and we have a lot of projects are going to be added soon to this particular course actually. Okay, CloudWatch monitoring. Okay, as CloudWatch alarms and its types, CloudWatch log groups, CloudWatch events and types, actually installing CloudWatch agent to collect custom metrics from the EC2 machine. So this is also very some kind of scenario based interview question. Okay, people will be asking in your interview something like, I want to collect custom metrics from the EC2 machines. How I can custom metrics means I want to know the space availability in your EC2 machine. How much amount of space left out in your EC2 machines? How much amount of space means the disk space. Okay, how much amount of disk space left out in the EC2 machine? That's a custom metric. It's not a default metric, it's a custom metric. How you can get the custom metric and what is the custom metric as part of your CloudWatch? They are going to ask such questions actually. Okay, so you can answer that question by completing this particular lab of this particular statement. Okay, so that's the thing. Configuring CloudWatch alarm with sending notification to SNS when state changes. Actually, whenever the CloudWatch alarm state changed, there are different types of CloudWatch alarm states actually in alarm or success state or whatever it is. Whenever the state of the CloudWatch alarm changes, okay, it is going to send the notification to SNS, and SNS is going to trigger the Lambda function, and Lambda function is going to say in your Slack channel that this is the alarm that is been in alarm state. That means suppose we have EC2 machine. The EC2 machine is using high amount of CPU, and this CloudWatch alarm is going to monitor that EC2 machine CPU, and CloudWatch alarm CloudWatch alarm gets the information that this EC2 machine is getting high amount of is using high amount of CPU, and this CloudWatch alarm will notify to the SNS topic saying that this EC2 machine is using high amount of CPU, and SNS topic will trigger the Lambda function by giving some data, that EC2 machine data, like this is a EC2 machine which is using high amount of CPU, and the SNS like Lambda function is going to send you the notification in the Slack saying that this is the EC2 machine which is using high amount of CPU. You are the person, you need to fix that actually. So such kind of notifications also like that we are going to see actually as part of this actually. Okay, so real-time concepts. Okay, so CloudWatch, Cloud Trail. Okay, introduction to Cloud Trail and Cloud Trail event monitoring and troubleshooting. Basically, you are going to use the Cloud Trail for your troubleshooting purposes only. Who accessed which service? Suppose you have multiple users for your AWS account. Someone by mistakenly terminated the EC2 machine, right? So you want to understand who terminated that. Okay, so you can get the information from the Cloud Trail that who terminated the EC2 machine actually. So basically, you use the Cloud Trail for all the API requests that is being performed on the AWS account. Okay, but we are going to see that how to deal with that. What are the event names that we are going to have on this things actually. Okay, the next part is going to be RDS. In the RDS deals with the relational database service. The full form is relational database service. Working with RDS services, creating snapshots and sharing their snapshots actually. Accessing the RDS database from the EC2 machine, configuring RDS database high availability and read replicas, and configuring RDS proxy, creating CloudWatch alarm with RDS database, discussion on backups and maintenance windows actually. So all these things we are going to see RDS. RDS is a place, it's a database service of AWS where you will be storing the data. Okay, that's the thing. The next thing is simple notification service, SNS, introduction to SNS and the subscriptions, access policy, data protection policy, and the encryption. With the KMS keys, we are going to see all these things as part of the SNS. Actually, types of subscription protocols and subscription filter policies. Actually, we are going to see all these things actually. Okay, do not worry, it will be very easy and you will be understanding very clearly. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, IAM identity and access management. Okay, IAM groups, IAM users, root user versus IAM user, policies and the roles, account setting and configuring MFA, multi-factor authentication, how to deal with that, and auditing user activity, which user has did what activity on your AWS account. Okay, how to deal with that, all these things we are going to see actually. The next service we are going to see is CloudFront. As per the CloudFront, creating CloudFront distributions, CloudFront distribution settings. Okay, types of CloudFront distribution origins, Okay, working with TTL, time to live. CloudFront deals with it. It's a cache service. Actually, we are going to see that, but don't worry about that. Okay, behaviors in CloudFront cache invalidations, other concepts in CloudFront like headers and all these things we are going to see actually. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, and we are going to give short introduction on Python Boto 3 module. Okay, so some small introduction will be there on Python Boto 3 module. What is that, and where to use that, and why to use that? Okay, all these things will be taught as part of this Python Boto 3 module actually. Okay, so that's the thing. And some real time use cases. Okay, deployment pipeline. Okay, with EC2 using S3 Lambda systems manager. Actually, we are going to see the project is there. Okay, the project is here actually. Diagram is there. We are going to see in the next presentation. Configuring public endpoints to about deployment app using Route 53 auto scaling groups. Okay, load balances and the CloudFront distribution. Okay, all this setup we are going to deal with that actually. Okay, setting up the AWS services to get the gold prices. Suppose you want to get the notification. Suppose you deal with the your application deals with go, gold business actually. Okay, so every day gold prices are going to be changing for your customers. Your requirement is to send everyday gold prices. So today these are the gold prices, and tomorrow these are the gold and silver prices. So how to do that scenario in using AWS services? Okay, I want to send to my customers everyday gold prices. So we are going to use some services of AWS, Lambda, and SNS topping, and we are going to use the Python programming on Porto 3. Okay, and then we are going to achieve this scenario actually. Okay, that's the thing. Deploying a three-tier application to AWS cloud ensures auto scaling by ensuring auto scaling, caching, load balancing, high availability, security, logging, metrics, and disaster recovery aspects. So all these things we are going to ensure. And when we deploy three-tier application, we are going to deploy three-tier application to the AWS account, and we will be dealing with that. And these are some of the real-time scenarios. And yeah, the next part is going to be introduction to Terraform. In AWS, we'll be seeing all these things in a manual process. And you also need to understand how to write Terraform scripts. For this, just a small introduction will be there on the Terraform. Terraform is also very important tool and the automation tool that people uses in the industry. So we will be using the Terraform to deal with that. And at the last, we are going to see summarize all the things that we have learned as part of the entire course actually. Okay, so that's a course syllabus in AWS actually. Any questions anyone has before going to the projects presentation? Any questions, please? Is that clear? Course is okay? Is interesting or?
Yeah, what is the duration for this course?
Hello, I am audible now. Okay. Is that fine, the course content? Any questions anyone has?
Yeah, Shiva, what is the duration for this course?
It's 90 days duration. Okay. Yeah.
You don't have any parallel session for Docker, Jenkins, and AWS? So once completed Docker, Kubernetes, then only we'll move on to AWS. We don't have any
Yes.
parallel sessions.
No, we are not going to have any parallel things. Yes, it's a Monday to Friday. It deals with. Please do remember again. I need to say this point. The after few days, I think 3 to 4 days, your timings is going to be shifting to 8 a.m. morning. Okay, it's not always 9 a.m. After 1 week or 3 to 4 days, your timings will be 8 a.m. morning. Okay, please do remember that point also. And the classes will be from Monday to Friday. 1.5 hour. 1.5 hour. 1 hour 30 minutes.
So from 8 to 9:30 regularly after every
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to give some time at the end of for your like Q&As, like Q&A question and answer session actually, like 10 to 5 minutes actually. That is why I'm taking 9:30. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, it's IST. It's 8 a.m. IST. Okay. The timings will be 8 a.m. IST.
Sir, for labs, whenever you will be performing the labs, so are we
Mhm.
supposed to perform parallelly at the same time, or we need to just see the
No. Just see the lab. Okay. If you parallelly perform, you will be missing some points in between, right? So I suggest see the lab, just observe the lab. I I suggest to spend some time on the same lab after the class.
Okay, sir. Okay, so just we need to focus on the class explanation, and
Yes.
later that once after the class is completed, we need to try it ourselves, and next day if we have some
You,
doubts, we can clarify those.
yes. That's how we deal with. That's how I suggest.
Okay, sir. And number of classes, sir?
It's 90 days duration actually, working 90 days. The number of the classes also will be that much. Every day you will be uploading the record video sessions to practice the follow-up. Yes, the sessions, the recorded sessions will be uploaded by DurgaSoft because they are going to manage the recorded sessions. And I am going to upload the documents on the same day from my side. Yeah.
90 days means it is almost close to 4 months duration, right? Because if you are taking only 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I think if you have some parallel session, right, it would be good in between, right?
No. You should learn these concepts in a serial manner. Okay. So if you take Docker, okay, and the Jenkins in parallel, no, does not work out. You need to first learn Docker itself before doing the automation with the Docker using Jenkins. So parallel, we can do no problem from my side, but ultimate thing is people will not get the concept. Okay, that's the thing.
Yeah, concentrating on this course for 4 months would be difficult. That's what we are thinking. Maybe if we can start after some time on AWS as well parallelly, I think it would be good.
We can start no problem with that, but the understanding of the people is important for me. Okay, we can start. Okay, all the 4 concepts is I can start at a time. Okay, one day this one day that one, or I can start no problem. But yeah, no. It's not difficult for everyone. Okay, so you will be understanding very clearly. Okay, do not panic in that manner. It will be very clear. I'm going to explain you in that manner. If you have any questions, you can ask in the class. Anytime I'm ready to explain you. And if you have questions offline when the class is over, we will be having Slack group or the Telegram group. You can post your questions there. Not only me, you can anyone who knows the answer can answer, or I will be also answering your questions there. That kind of support will be there for you. It is not difficult. It is very easy. You will be getting the concepts very easily, but some effort should be there from your side. Okay, for practicing the labs, the same lab you do. I'm not asking you to do another lab, whatever the different things. I'm not asking you. Just do the same lab which we did in our session. Okay, concentrate in the class and do the same lab which we did in our session. That's enough. Okay, yeah, that's a thing. Okay. Uh, no, we are not. See, and now itself, the course content is very high, and we need to spend a lot of time on the course content only. If I explain the Git and all the things that will not work out actually. So we are not going to deal with the Git topics actually, but we are going to use in Jenkins some parts, like in the 2 to 3 places, but not more. But we are not going to use that git actually. Okay. So, and so we are using Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins with AWS instances because I was using Office laptop too long. Yeah. We are going to use the Docker, Jenkins, and Kubernetes with AWS only. We are not going to touch any other clouds actually, Azure or GCP. We are going to use AWS. Yes. Okay. Any 3 hours or 1 days. What is this? Ganesh, can you clarify? What is this? Any 3 hours or 1 days? What is this? Yeah, if you want, I can take out of our session actually. That means as a seminar in our weekends. Okay, but I cannot invest my time in our classes actually because uh, fully concentration of our classes only. Okay, it cannot invest my time uh, on Git on in our classes, but I can take seminar or webinar on weekends. If you are interested, you people can attend. That's the thing. Okay, that's done. Okay, if you have some time, people, for 10 minutes so that I can explain the project's presentation also. Will you be there in the meeting for next 10 minutes? Is that fine?
And will this AWS course content will help us to clear AWS Solution Architect Associate Certificate?
No. AWS course content is not going to help us to create any sports certificate actually. Please do remember, Kubernetes content is helping you to create resolve like what is that? To complete the CKAD certification and CKA syllabus of 80% of the CKA syllabus is been covered in Kubernetes, but not in AWS because this course is entirely designed for real time. How we use the real time uh, 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 the scenarios, the topics, and all these things which deals with the real time, but not for the certification. But I can assure you for the Kubernetes, it will be helpful, but not for the AWS. That's the thing. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think you people have some 10 minutes of time to explain, to show you the projects actually. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And let me go to the projects. Okay. Okay. So before going to the let me directly go to the projects actually, and I will be explaining tomorrow what are the different topic I want to explain actually. So the projects on this one. So let me click on this slideshow. Okay. Okay. The first project is this one with the Docker. Okay. We are going to use the different tools and different concepts of Docker. What are the different concepts of Docker that is included in this project? Number one is Docker files, Docker volumes, Docker compose, Docker networking, container communication. See, anyone will teach you what is Docker volume, what is Docker compose, what is Docker networking, what is container communication. So how you can use this all the concepts together and create a project. Okay, we are going to see in this project number one. Actually, we are going to use a tools called Postman, and we are also going to use a tool called Mongo Compass. Okay, please do remember, we are going to use these two tools, Postman and Mongo Compass, and we are going to automate the deployment of this entire project with the Docker Compose tool. After doing this, see, after writing this Docker Compose file, you know it of there is no any manual activity. There will be entire automation of this entire project with the Docker Compose. Okay, that's how we do deal with actually. Okay, this project number one, if I explain technically, it will be very confusing for you. Okay, so we are creation of Docker image from the Docker file and creating a custom network and deploying these two containers in the same custom network and port forwarding and communication between the custom two different containers to store application as well as MongoDB, and all these things will be automated with the Docker Compose actually. Okay, so yeah, that's it might be technical, but yeah, please, just for your information, I'm going to explain. These are all the things which will be automating all this in the project number one. And this project number one, all these concepts will be included: Docker files, Docker volumes, Docker compose, Docker networking, and the container communication. All these things will be included in this project number one, which will be learning individually first, and we'll be dealing with the project actually. That's the thing. This is the project number two. We are going to have application deployment to the Kubernetes cluster, we are also going to use different concepts in Kubernetes. We are going to use cron jobs for taking the backups. We are going to use jobs. We are going to use resource quota, limit ranges, namespaces, config maps, secret, horizontal protoscaler, liveness probe, readiness probe, and startup probe. We are going to use persistent volume claim, persistent volume, storage classes, dynamic volume provisioning, taking the backup of your data using cron job and all these things. And we are going to use deployments, replica sets, and we are going to store our application images into ECR, and we are going to take the images from the ECR. ECR is a AWS service, and this is a Postman we are going to use, and we are going to access the application using our service actually. So this is how we deal with. See, first how we will be doing the projects is first we will be learning individual topics. What is horizontal protoscaler? What is liveness probe, readiness probe, and startup probe? First, we'll be dealing the individual topics like how to deal with the how to do the lab on that. What's the practical on that? What's the diagrammatic part on that? What's the theoretical part on that? First, we'll be dealing with that, and we'll be combining all the concepts together, and we'll be creating a project. Okay, so something like this. Okay, that's how we do actually. Okay, so this is a project number 2, which entirely deals with the application deployment by using all the configurations that we have as part of our Kubernetes. Okay, now then the project number 3 is mainly dealing with the networking and security. In the project number 1, the difference between the project number 2 and the project number 3 is project number 2 deals with the deployment of the application by using all the different Kubernetes objects. But the project number 3, along with the project number 2, using the Kubernetes objects, we also use security Kubernetes objects and the ingress controllers in the project number 3. And we are going to use the AWS load balancer. We are going to use the ingress control and path-based routing, and we are also going to use the host-based routing to route your traffic between the applications in the Kubernetes cluster. If you enter a domain, suppose you have entered www.youtube.com. That's this is just an example I'm saying, www.youtube.com/test. If you have entered that API at the end of the www.youtube.com, the request has to go to this particular application. Okay, you see that this is a test you have. And if you enter /demo, the request has to go to the another application. So such kind of how you can perform this path-based routing in the Kubernetes, we are going to see as part of this actually using ingress. We are going to attach a load balancer, okay, and using the Route 53 service, the GoDaddy, we are going to use the GoDaddy to purchase a domain and integrate it with Route 53 and all these things. We are going to use ingress controllers and all these things actually. And the cluster role binding, cluster role binding, all these things. Security concepts are included, service accounts are included, and the networking is included. Again, I'm saying the difference between the project number 2 and the project number 3 is in the project number 2, in the project number 3, we are going to have networking and security, but not in the project number 2. That's the truth. Okay, so any question? All AWS. No, you know, see, I'll tell you about that. Okay, so let me, this is a project number 3. The next is the project number 4, which deals with the Helm charts and Argo CD and the Kubernetes. We are going to integrate the Kubernetes. This is a KNS dashboard. The middle one, which you are seeing, is the KNS dashboard. Okay, this is one. And the right side one is, this is what is that? Kubernetes dashboard. And this is the left side one is a Rancher. This is an option I have put. If the time permits, I'm going to show you the Rancher. But yeah, these are very famous in tools actually, KNS, as well as a Kubernetes dashboard. So this is a project number 3. We are going to convert our entire manifest files into Helm chart, and using that Helm chart, we are going to deploy that application into the Kubernetes cluster actually. And the Argo CD also plays a major role in this project number 4 actually. Okay, so I might be taking this Argo CD in a separate project, but that's fine. Whatever, you can also use the same project or different project. Just integrations. Okay, that's the thing. It's very easy, very easy. You can easily manage. Okay, so that's the project number 4. Okay, the next part is going to be the project number 5, EFK stack. How to collect. Suppose you have deployed your applications to the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so the applications generate some logs. Suppose that application is storing some data to the RDS database, right? So it will be generating some logs like I have stored the data in the RDS database. RDS database stored has been complete. It is properly stored. I have properly stored the data into the RDS database. Some logs will be generated by the application, right? In order to debug the application problems, you need to have the centralized logging mechanism like Elasticsearch and Kibana. Okay, you need to push the logs generated by your Kubernetes applications that are there in the Kubernetes cluster to your Elasticsearch, and from the Kibana, you should be able to view the logs actually. How to deal with that? Okay, we will be using FluentBit and FluentD actually, Elasticsearch and the Kibana. Okay, for the centralized logging mechanism in our Kubernetes cluster. Actually, here this is a project number 5. All these projects are real-time projects that we have included. And the project number 6 is dealing with the Prometheus monitoring and monitoring our Kubernetes cluster. Okay, we are going to monitor our Kubernetes cluster with, it's a beautiful project actually. Okay, so and we are going to use the alert manager to to get the, suppose any application is down in your Kubernetes cluster, immediately your alert manager is going to send the alert to your Slack channel that your application is down. Please go ahead and check that application. Okay, so how we are going to configure that, how to deal with that actually, and we are going to see this, just an overview diagram I'm showing here. But yeah, all the diagrams which I'm showing here, I'll be drawing the again diagrams from the scratch. Okay, so and you'll be understanding very clearly that one. Okay, so this is a monitoring of the Kubernetes cluster we are going to see actually. The next part is the project number. Sorry, it's 7 is missing. That's fine actually. The project number 8 actually. So that's the thing. We are everything automation of our application deployment to the Kubernetes cluster. In the place of JFrog, sorry, in the place of JFrog, you are going to get the S3 actually. Only one change is there actually. So we are going to have 2 different pipelines actually in this, in order to do this project. One is upstream pipeline and the downstream pipeline. Upstream pipeline is used for building the project, and downstream pipeline is used for the deployment. See, upstream generally, see, the overview is upstream pipeline is going to deal with CI, continuous integration, and the downstream pipeline is going to deal with the CD, continuous deployment. Okay, so it's very easy. We are going to see that actually. Okay, once you have did this pipeline, okay, it is very, very helpful for you. Once you did this pipeline, you can answer any questions in the interviews, and you can say this pipeline in your interview so that they will be impressed. And actually, so once you do this pipeline, everything is automated in this pipeline actually. Once the developer has been pushing his code to the GitHub repository, until the deployment of that application to the Kubernetes cluster, everything is automated in this particular project. So in this pipeline, project number 8 actually. Okay, we are going to see actually. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, in the project number 9 actually, this project deals with the AWS. Okay, so when you push, suppose there is some website that is running as part of my AWS EC2 machines. Okay, I need to have some pipeline to suppose the project deals with some UI pages, user interface pages actually. So my application code is changed. I want to deploy the new application code to this EC2 machines actually. Okay, so what I am as a person, I'm going to push that new application code to the S3 bucket. I'm going to push the new application code to the S3 bucket, and the application code, the S3 bucket will be automatically trigger the Lambda function. You are going to have some Python code. We are going to write the Python code for this actually. Do not worry, it's very easy. Okay, so this Python code is going to be writing. We are going to use the Python. Okay, sorry, Python programming language, and we are going to write that actually. Okay, so this Lambda function will be integrated with CloudWatch in order to monitor the logs, whether the Lambda function is properly executed or not. Okay, by using the CloudWatch, we are going to monitor. And we are going to integrate this Lambda function with SNS topics to send the notifications to the mail or the Slack channel, so that we will be understanding whether our application deployment is being properly done or not. Once you have pushed the application code to the S3 bucket, Lambda function is going to be triggered, and the Lambda function is going to trigger the AWS Systems Manager run command. Actually, AWS Systems Manager has a functionality of run command, and this run command deploys your applications that you push in the S3 to your EC2 machines actually. So that's how we deal with actually. So this is a project number 9, and again, I'm saying this Lambda function is integrated with CloudWatch to monitor the logs and the metrics. And this Lambda function is also integrated with SNS notifications to send the notifications to our mail or the Slack channel wherever you want actually. So that's how we have this project number 9 that we'll deal with. Okay. So the project number 10 is CI/CD pipeline again with the AWS services. Okay. The CI/CD pipeline with Jenkins we have seen in the project number 8, but in the project number 9 we will be seeing the CI/CD pipeline with AWS services like AWS code commit, code build, code pipeline, code deploy. So these are the AWS services which we are going to deal with, and we are going to deploy our application to the EC2 machines as a CI/CD pipeline. Actually. So we are going to see we have some file called buildspec.yml file on this sense actually. So that's a problem number 10. Okay. So and a few other scenarios also going to come. Again, for example, we have seen that scenario, right? Gold prices. Okay. So where is that scenario? You can see that setting up the AWS services to get the gold prices every day. This is also one of the project actually. So such kind of scenarios also we are going to see as part of the projects actually. Okay. That's a entire project presentation. And if time permits, I want to also add some of the other projects also. But yeah, if you people has to be interested on that, so that I can add that. So that's the project presentation that I want to give as part of this course actually. Okay. Any questions anyone has, please?
So we need to have a very good understanding of Linux also, right? For this one, for all this to understand.
Not very good understanding. A basic understanding is needed, but it's very simple actually. From when we use it, you will be understanding very easily the Linux commands.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. I think so. Someone asked about the AWS services, right? So, sir, I need to install tools on all. Okay, all the AWS services will be free tier only. Or okay, some of the services when you use EKS, right? That's not a free tier. Some of the services which we use will be costed for you. But once you have used that EKS cluster, you can automatically terminate, delete the EKS cluster. Then you'll be having the less cost. Okay, so yeah, tomorrow also same time 9 a.m. the class will be. Sir, I need to install all tools in laptop because I was using Office laptop. So okay. I suggest see if you are using Office laptop, I do not install on your local machine because the laptop will be having specific permissions which only need to be done with laptop, right? So what I suggest, I'm going to show you the way you can install the tools. You can create a EC2 machine in your AWS account, and you can install all the tools in that particular EC2 machine and to work with the labs actually. Okay, that's a different way you can use. If you are using your personal laptop, you can install your local machine. Is that fine?
And
That's the thing. Any questions anyone has, please? Okay, thanks for joining. Tomorrow also there will be class at same time, 9 a.m. Please do attend the class, and we'll be yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that actually. Okay. So you have some details in your chat that is pasted by DURGASOFT to me. I have pasted it here. If you are interested, please go ahead and register for the course with these details actually. You can also contact the DURGASOFT. If anyone are talking,
always
your
at
voice is
9 only,
breaking.
or
Someone is talking, your voice is breaking. Anyone talking, please? Syllabus is this one only. You can go to DURGASOFT website. This is the syllabus place actually. You can go here and check the syllabus here actually. So something like that. This is a link for the syllabus. You can go there and check the syllabus. Yeah, I've pasted here. You can see that. Just let me paste one more time. Okay, so yeah, that's a link for the syllabus. Okay, so if you are interested, please use the details and register for the course. There will be a three days demo, and the link is going to be changed. Please do remember that. And thank you for joining the session. And tomorrow we are going to discuss the few concepts of DevOps, and we will be seeing the physical machines, virtual machines, and cloud actually. So all these things we are going to see tomorrow in the tomorrow's class. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Please do attend the session and I'll meet you in the next class. Thank you. Bye.